welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's program, are the Texans getting a new world-class headquarters? Coming soon? I'll let you know. Also, Jimmie Ward, after the recent legal troubles this past week, is he for sure getting cut from the team? And Tytus Howard, he talked with Aaron Wilson, talked with a lot of people after Texans minicamp. Is he set to have a breakout year? These are the stories we're going to be breaking down on today's program. But if you're new to the show, I implore you, go down and hit that subscribe button, bringing you Texans news and rumors all year long during the offseason. I went on vacation this past week, but I pre-recorded some videos to make sure that y'all were getting Texans content all year long. So if you love the Houston Texans and want to be part of the best Texans community on the internet, well, you're in the right spot. Just go down and hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. And if you're also new to the program and don't know kind of how we break down these stories, this is my Toro Heads rumor meter that I use. If I give something 0 Toro Heads, it's fake news. It's not happening. 1 Toro Head, small shred of truth. 2 Toro Heads, think of it as like a 50-50 shot. 3 Toro Heads, I think it's pretty likely. And if I give something 4 Toro Heads, H-Town. Hold it down. It is happening. So let's get into the first story on today's program. World-class headquarters. Is it coming soon to the city of Houston or the greater Houston area? 4 Toro Heads. It is happening. The Texans, they're going to get a new practice facility. They're going to get a new headquarters that is coming soon. They don't want to continue working out of NRG Stadium as also the practice facility, headquarters for the front office and everything. They want their own kind of building. They want their own setup, rightfully so. And coming in from Jonathan M. Alexander, great story that he put out there on the new headquarters and training facility. And they basically talked about how Mike Toman, who's the current president of the Houston Texans, he formerly worked with the Dallas Cowboys and talked about wanting to make it like the Star in Frisco. He wanted it to be kind of like this right here. You know, you see the practice facility in the background. That's, you know, the Star. But there's all these shops and things around it, making it kind of an area that people want to go check out, do tours of. This is kind of another overhead view of the Star in Frisco. And this is kind of what the Texans are going to base their HQ off of. They want a similar setup where there's a practice facility away from NRG so they don't have to worry about concerts, other conflicts around the stadium, and then also something to kind of bring the community together, have a cool spot where everybody can hang out and be and kind of, you know, root on our Houston Texans. So I want to know, they talked about different places that it might be in the article. I want to hear from you, though. Where should the Texans build their new headquarters? Let me know down in the comments section. Let me know, should it be outside of Harris County, out of the greater Houston area? Should it be, I don't know, maybe South Houston, North Houston? Go down in the comment section and let me know, where do you think they should build the new HQ? Now, in the article, it mentioned that there's a strong push to build it near the stadium in that NRG Park area. They said that they have some acres of land that are available to build that up around the stadium, and also they can kind of, you know, build up the stadium at the same time in the area surrounding NRG, and might be beneficial to not only them but also the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo and, you know, Harris County, who owns NRG Stadium. But this is what Mike Toman had to say to the Houston Chronicle on the new HQ. We've had a number of suitors proactively reach out to us on different options that were really focused on us moving our headquarters and training facility to their respective spaces. They've gotten mature enough that it has become apparent to us that we need to get prepared to take advantage of something this significant. There have been multiple sources who have proactively reached out. So, obviously, there's a number of people, number of different, you know, areas around the city of Houston that want this new HQ. And personally, I think, you know, it wouldn't be too bad having it near the stadium, but I wouldn't mind having it, you know, still in Houston, in the greater Houston area, but maybe a little bit, you know, further away. The Houston Rockets recently did that with their training facility, which is 8 miles away from the Toyota Center. Now, it'll be a little bit different because the one for the Texans, they want to turn into, like I said, kind of like the Star in Frisco, where it's an attraction, where people want to go to, where there's shops, restaurants, things to do in that area and kind of build it up. So it'll be a little different because the Rockets facility is just for like practice purposes, but could be an interesting development depending on where they decide to put the new HQ. Now, the story where I know a lot of y'all probably clicked into today's video to talk about, Jimmie Ward, is he getting cut? Is his legal battles, his legal issues going to result in him being dismissed from the team? I'm only going to give this 2 Toro heads at the moment, saying that it is a 50-50 shot. I think he's obviously on the chopping block. Even before all of this news came, I don't think he was 100% lock to make the Texans roster. But as we all saw, unless you were living under a rock this past week, he got into a little bit of some legal troubles. This coming from Aaron Wilson on June 12th. Texans safety Jimmie Ward released from Montgomery County Jail on $30,000 bond set by magistrate this afternoon, facing third-degree felony charge after allegations he choked his fiancee and his baby mama. So, legal troubles to say the least. Now, I will say this. I try not to pass early judgment on these things, because I'm going to let the court process play out. We have seen in instances where somebody was, accused of certain wrongdoings, and it came out that that wasn't necessarily 100% the case. So I'm not going to, rule on whether or not Jimmie Ward is guilty or not based on I just don't have the evidence. I don't have the stuff in front of me that tells me whether he's guilty or not guilty. But when it comes to Jimmie Ward's future with this Houston Texans team, like I said, it was already on, some shaky ground before the arrest. Will he make the team, and will it even be up to the Houston Texans and DeMeco Ryans? Because if this thing does go to court and he is found guilty, it might not even be up to them. It might be the NFL that goes ahead and gives him a suspension or makes it where he can't play, and the Texans just go ahead and release him because there's no point in having a guy on your roster that can't play this season, especially in the last year of his contract that it is already. The Texans could save some money from cutting him, and with his legal issues, I was talking about him being a trade candidate beforehand. Now I'm not sure if that's the case because, I don't know a team that's willing to trade for a guy that has legal issues, legal battles that are ongoing. So we'll have to see how this whole Jimmie Ward thing plays out. And if, it does come out that he is guilty, I think it's 100% the Texans are going to cut him. But even beforehand, maybe the Texans don't want the distraction or don't want to deal with everything that comes with Jimmie Ward at this moment. Now, I was going to, make a replacements video today, but I didn't want to be too preemptive. I wanted to kind of let it play out a little bit and see what ends up happening with Jimmie Ward. But if you want a list of possible replacements the Texans can get in the secondary, later this week, I'll make a video. Go ahead and type me in the comments section. Let me know if you want that style of video. I can make it later on in the week. I was thinking about making it today, but I wanted to talk about some of the other storylines alongside Jimmie Ward and wanted to talk about HQ, wanted to talk about Tytus Howard. But let me know. If you want a replacements video, go down and type me in the comments section. Now, coming up, as I mentioned, Tytus Howard is a breakout season coming for the Texans offensive lineman. He had some very interesting comments that he said this past week after minicamp. We'll break those down in just a moment, but I have something very special for you guys. If you want a sale, I got you covered right here. This stuff has been selling like hotcakes, and it is limited with the amount of sizes and the amount that they have left on this polo. It is, I believe last time I checked, 50% off. All you got to do, go to chatsports.com/Texans Polo Sale. Go check it out. This polo right now, perfect for the summertime. You're not always going to want to wear a jersey. You're not always going to wear this stuff. I'm a big polo guy, though. So if you want this polo on sale now, this link, chatsports.com/Texans Polo Sale, will be in the comment section and description of today's video. It sends you straight to the Fanatics website where this polo is located. Go check it out while supplies last. Now, the last storyline on today's show, Tytus Howard, is he in for a breakout year? I think so. I'm going to give this one 3 Toro heads, and I'm thinking that, he's on the right trajectory to be one of the better Texans offensive linemen this year. And I think if you ask people, he might be the best offensive lineman that the Texans have on their roster right now. I think it's solidified. He is the starting right guard for this Texans offensive line. During minicamp, it was him at right guard, Laken Tomlinson at left guard. And he even mentioned after minicamp when talking to Aaron Wilson, Texans, Tytus Howard loves the new right guard spot and emphasizes Cole Povich in creating a nasty, underestimated offensive line. They are sure underestimated because not a lot of people view them as, a top half unit in the NFL in terms of offensive line. But Tytus Howard had some interesting quotes after minicamp. This is what he had to say. We've got a chip on our shoulders, and people underestimate what we're going to do or what we're going to be this year. But, that's their problem. When that first game comes and we come off the ball and hit them in the mouth, they're going to be, these guys are for real. We've been putting in that work. Work in here right now, and we're going to continue to put that work and training together. Every day isn't going to be perfect, but I'm telling you, when that game one comes and they see what the offensive line is about, we're going to be ready. And, I do have to commend Tytus Howard because he's been moved around all around the offensive line. He's played left tackle. He's played right tackle, left guard, right guard. He's played every single position but the center spot, and he's continued to have a great attitude throughout the way. I know that beforehand, he was like, I want to be a tackle only, and I get it whenever it comes to contract purposes and his future in the NFL. It's better to be a tackle than it is a guard. But for what the Texans need and where he fits best with this Texans offensive line, I think right guard is a good spot for him, and I do think he's a solid offensive lineman. He was taken in round one for a reason, and I really hope he reaches his potential because according to PFF, and I know with PFF, like I always say, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Statistically, per their numbers, best season that he's had in his NFL career. And I know these numbers don't jump off the page for you, right? 70.5 overall, 76.2 pass blocking grade, a run blocking grade of 58.9. But in terms of Tytus Howard, last year, like I said, he moved around everywhere. He moved around to right tackle, to left guard, to right guard. He was not in a solid position. And unlike any other position in the NFL, offensive line is solely based on who the guy next to you is and whether y'all can work as a unit, right? If you have the best left tackle in the NFL and 4 other scrubs, it's not going to work out because you need these guys to play in tandem, to play in a unit. And that's the whole Cole Popovich system that he's trying to install here in having guys, maybe they're not the most talented guys, the all-star unit that we see on some other offensive lines across the NFL, but maybe this unit better than last year and maybe the year before gels better together with guys like Laken Tomlinson, Jake Andrews, who've worked with this coaching staff before, Tytus Howard, who's been a stalwart in Houston for the past 5 seasons, and then you bring in guys like Cam Robinson, rookie Ariante Ursery, second-year guy Blake Fisher. Maybe this is enough for this offensive line to get on the right track. Now, that's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to continue the conversation, you can do so on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. My DMs are always open. And as I said at the top of the show, if you made it to the very end, why not hit that subscribe button? Free Texans videos all year long. My promise to you is this. Give me 1 week. Hit that sub button. If you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. But give me 1 week to prove to you why this is the #1 Texans channel here on YouTube.